Hello and welcome to today's video. I was hoping to do something different for my channel today. I've never done anything like a will I buy it or talking about new releases really. So I went through Trend Mood's post and looked from January to now and just kind of looked over the first quarter of this year's releases, and I figured maybe we could go through, talk about them, talk about not all of them, goodness gracious, we'd be here for ages, but I wrote down some ones that caught my attention, either probably mostly good, maybe some bad. And so I'm going to start with the newest releases, the earliest releases in January, and then move to the more current ones now. So the first one on my list is the Tati Blendiful. Also, I will try to insert photos of things that I'm talking about as we're going. And I will say that while I enjoyed seeing people's reviews of this product, it's not one that I think I see myself reaching for. I don't know what it is, like, and maybe this is just gonna like reveal too much about myself, but I'm really weird about textures and like feels of things, and like the top of a car, like it freaks me out, like touching it, like the dryness of it. And so for some reason, even though I'm sure that it doesn't feel anything like that, when I think about that product, that's what I'm afraid that it feels like too dry. So I think I'm gonna stick with my Real Techniques Beauty Blender, but honestly, I get like this weird bodily, like it doesn't feel good. Like my whole body starts to like tense up when I think about what it might feel like to use that product. I don't know, am I the only one who does that? Because I probably am, but so far I'm intrigued, but I don't think I'm brave enough to try something like that. The next thing on my list is the Bite Beauty Changemaker Foundation, and they also came out with the Changemaker Powder. I keep seeing more and more people who are reviewing these items, and they really like them. I personally really like Bite Beauty, and I'm so drawn to like the things that they make. Although they are a little bit higher in price point than I'm typically like wanting, I am very much intrigued about that product, and I think that if I still hear buzz several months down the road, like, you know, once I use up a ton of my foundation, I have way too many foundations at this point, but it would be something that I could see myself picking up to try in the future. I was very intrigued by it for sure. Moving into one that I wasn't really intrigued with is the Milani one it's like the Screen Queen Luminous Foundation that they released this year. I have tried one Milani, like, I can't remember, but it's the full coverage guide that pretty much everybody had probably has tried by this point. I remember trying it after Tati, like way back in the day when I was watching Tati review the foundation, and she said that she continued to say then that she like was a big fan of it and she wore it a lot. And so I did try it. It's very full coverage, but I didn't think it really made my skin look youthful. I think it maybe aged me a little bit. So when I heard this one, like the description of it, I was like, okay, maybe this one could make you look a little healthier since it's gonna have a little bit of dewiness to it versus like super flat drying looking thing, because I think that's what tends to make my skin look older, is when things get too drying. But I have to say, like, the reviews I've seen on this foundation are not very good, so I'm definitely gonna avoid that one for now. But let me know in the comments if you've tried any of these products, this one in particular and that kind of thing, and let me know if you like things, do you agree with the reviews that you've seen, and that kind of thing. So the next release that I saw was the Amrezy palette, and I have to say, like, typically I'm such a sucker for anything and everything released by Anastasia Beverly Hills, because I just love the quality of their eyeshadows. Like, I have a ton of their palettes, and I picked up, the last two I picked up were the Jackie Aina and the like Soft Glam palette, and I'm very happy with both of those, even though I haven't played a ton with them. I just enjoy like staring at them and looking at them. So when I saw Amrezy's palette come out, I was intrigued. I was like, wow, this packaging is gorgeous. I think the packaging is really, really stunning. And the first time I saw the shades and swatches, I was like, oh my goodness, that is stunning. The more I think about it, the more I talk myself out of that palette for some reason. And I'm honestly surprised to hear myself say that, because I am very drawn to like those light shimmery shades. She has like a light pink shimmery shade, a light purple shimmery shade, and some like beautiful like golds and stuff. All right, I decided I needed to pull my phone out. So yeah, there's like a light pink shade, a light purple shade, gold shades, and those are typically my like wheelhouse. Those are the colors that I love the most. But you know, there are things in this palette that I thought would draw me in, and they're not. So one, I'm kind of over that pop of like bright aquamarine blue. I don't know what it is. I feel like I have so many palettes with that pop of color in there, and it just does not pull me in. Partly, I think mostly because I don't feel like I look good in that kind of color, or I'm not quite brave enough for that color. But also, here's the thing that really shocks me. I'm so in love with ColourPop glitters. Like, I want to try more ColourPop glitters. And this palette is like one of the first one ABH has done that has pressed glitters in it. But for some reason, I am not interested in the pressed glitters in this palette. I think they just look maybe a little one-dimensional, like whereas the ColourPop glitters have like this kind of really cool duochrome factor to them. And for some reason, I just can't get excited by those glitters in this palette. I do love pops of pinks, so that is another thing that kind of draws me in. But again, I have a ton of pop of pinks in my collection that I just find myself, I don't really utilize them, even though I already have some of them. So I don't know. Yeah, I might get drawn into this one day if I ever see this go on sale. Like right now, the Carli Bybel palette is on sale at Ulta. If I saw this go on sale at Ulta, I might bite the bullet on it, but for now, it hasn't made me like rush out and get it. Like the Jackie Aina palette, like I wanted so bad from the moment go, and I pulled the trigger as soon as I had like a good coupon for it. So this one, for whatever reason, hasn't made me do that yet. Okay, so the next releases that caught my eye were the e.l.f. little 4-pan palettes, and there are 8 different shades that they released. And I think that there's a part of me, so this is again another product that I'm torn on. There's a part of me that really wants to try them because one, they're so affordable. They're only about $3 each, I think. But then I look at the palettes and the blue one's pretty, but I don't think I would really wear those tones that often. And then all of the other ones, I pretty much have like the neutral palettes. I have in many of my own palettes that I already own, and I can guarantee you that the quality is probably going to be as good, if not better, because I've spent a lot more money on my other palettes. The one that gets me though is that, I think it's like something jalapeno, that green one. It gets me so intrigued for whatever reason. And that is the one, I think if I pulled the trigger on any of them, it would be that green one, because I can't seem to get enough green in my lifetime right now. So yeah. Okay, and moving into the next release, let's talk about ColourPop's Meant to Be palette. This one is, so I love these ColourPop 9-pan palettes, and especially these like little pastel ones that they've released as of late. The peach one, I have the peach one. I want that Lilac You a Lot palette so much. But for whatever reason, the mint one is really pretty, but I don't get as drawn into it as easily. I think maybe if I had the Lilac You a Lot one, I would probably be more drawn to get the mint one, just because I think the purple with that mint green could look really pretty. But I don't know if I would be comfortable wearing just that mint colors. Like, I don't know if they would suit my skin tone. So I've kind of stayed away from that one for now. But also, does anyone else get sucked in by ColourPop in the sense that things are so affordable that you just want to try them even if you know you won't really love it? I still am intrigued enough almost to try it. Okay, speaking of another pastel palette, let's talk about the Morphe 35 Icy Fantasy palette. Can I tell you, 100% real talk, this palette gets me so hard. And in fact, I was gonna break my no buy this week and buy it when an Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale item later on in the week, a skincare item. I was like, gonna get that, and I was gonna get the Icy Fantasy palette because those pastel shades just speak to me on so many levels. I feel like I've really been wanting some pastel colors, and that palette just looks so light and pretty, and that's what I want out of those pastel colors. And plus, they had a couple like shimmers in that palette that had like duochromy, like a green shifting shade, and I was done. I'm all in. And I just looked online at their website, and so far I can't find it on their website, can't find it on Morphe's website, can't find it on Morphe EU website. I can't find that palette anywhere. It's sold out or not. It's not even sold out. Like, I can't even find a link that says, oh, this palette's sold out. It's just gone. So I really hope I didn't miss my chance on that one, because I was gonna ask for it for like a birthday or anniversary, but so far it feels like I may have missed my chance on that one. But oh my goodness, was anybody else drawn to that palette? Because that was the one that piqued my interest the most this year so far, and I'm a little bummed that it looks like I might not be able to get my hands on it at all for a birthday or anything. So whew. Now going to another ColourPop release later on, after the Icy Fantasy palette, I believe they released that, they kind of had that whole blushing series of releases. I thought they were pretty, but actually that was one that did not get me. For some reason, I love the ColourPop shadow quality, but not enough to buy And I'm glad. I don't need those colors, those like blushing nude kind of colors. Like I have them 10 times over, and there wasn't even a part of me that looked at that collection more than once. And so that's okay, but I do think they're pretty, but it's just for whatever reason I didn't get sucked into that one. Another one that I'm surprised I didn't get sucked in on was the Too Faced, like the Born This Way. They did like a palette for nudes, it was very much nude tone palette. And then also they had like a face palette. Now the face palette kind of intrigued me because I've heard some people in reviews here and there talk about how it feels similar to Hourglass powders, and I've never tried Hourglass powders. I want to, but I can't make myself like pull the trigger on those prices yet. But the Too Faced palette also kind of being in that same quality type, and then also I've not really tried too many Too Faced palettes, but they feel a little bit more affordable to me. It intrigued me so far, but I don't think I feel that drawn to like purchase one. So I think it will be something that I say from afar like, oh, that was pretty, but no thanks. Okay, moving into another expensive brand, Natasha Denona and her Love palette. So I guess it was around Valentine's Day that she released this palette, and it's full of pinky, purpley tones. And I think the thing that mostly didn't keep me interested about this palette is that I just started playing with, at the beginning of this year, I really started playing with my newer to me Natasha Denona Lila palette, and I really like those purple tones. And I feel like the Love palette probably would have tried to pull me in for those purpley pinky tones, but for whatever reason, they were too romantic almost and not bright enough to catch my attention. I know I've seen a lot of people say that they love that palette, but I think maybe the fact that I already was playing with something that felt so new to me and was in that purple realm, that I just was like, I'm fine on purples. I've got a lot of purples right now. I'm still trying to figure out how I like to wear them and that kind of thing. So that was a release that didn't quite get my attention fully. Okay, moving into a release from MAC. I haven't really tried many MAC items. I think I have 2 MAC lipsticks that I found on clearance here in Sweden, and I've never tried any of their face like powder products or anything like that. And they did release this year, I think they're called Glow Play blushes. Those blushes are really intriguing. I love a glowy blush. Like the Laura Geller Baked Blush formula with that shimmery kind of finish is my favorite blush formula. So when I saw that MAC, and I feel like MAC has a good reputation for doing like face and cheek product like blushes and highlights. They have a good reputation for those kind of products. So when I saw the glowy kind of release that they did, I have to admit that I'm eyeing those hardcore, and come like a year from now probably, or less than a year from now, when I'm off my no buy, I will probably, if I still hearing good things about those, I will probably try one because I'm just so curious about MAC products in general. Okay, the next one I wanted to talk about was the Sugar Pill like capsule palette things that they released. They released 2 volumes of it, but oh my goodness, I have never seen packaging that cool and stunning. I love that it's kind of like that clear. I don't know if the bottom of the palette is just held together by like acrylic pieces, or if there's like a clear inlay that I can't see, but it is stunning. I love the packaging. I've never tried Sugar Pill, and with packaging like that, I want to buy it and try it, but at the same time, I don't think either of the 2 color palettes that have been released really pull me in that much. I'm tempted, but so far I haven't. I think if I could pick and choose colors from each palette and make my own, it would be something so much more intriguing. But so far, I'm managing to resist. But oh my goodness, if I can't like give them like a total standing ovation for that packaging, because that packaging is just insanely cool. Okay, and the next one I want to talk about is the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 Morphe palette. Now this one was another one that I kind of was like, this is interesting. It's got some very bright colors. I think so I have the first volume. I got it at the original launch. My husband actually bought it for me for, I believe it was our anniversary, I think it was. And so when this, my biggest complaint about that palette is there are so many warm brown tones that look so similar to me, and I wanted more cool tones. Well, this palette doesn't give me cool tones, but at least I felt like there's a lot more color range in the mattes. There you get so many like purple, pinks, you get some neutrals, teal. That yellow is very intriguing, and I really wanted that in the first palette. I wanted some diversity in the matte shades, and I didn't feel like I got that at all. So this one intrigued me. The more I thought about it, the more I was like, you know what? as beautiful as this palette is, I don't know if it's worth like those pinks and purples that I'm gonna wear once, maybe twice, and then I'm gonna feel overwhelmed by the size of that palette. If that palette had been condensed, and I probably would have bitten the bullet on it sooner, but so far am just resisting so far, and I think I'm okay with it. I think I'm okay. It's very intriguing because it's very affordable, but then again, I know I don't need those shades. Another palette that I've managed to talk myself out of is that Jeffree Star Bloodlust palette. There is a green shade in it that is super intriguing, but all in all, again, I think I've been playing with purple shadows all like pretty much this quarter already, and I haven't felt like, you know, I have plenty of purples, so I haven't felt the need to try it yet. Although I will say, I've never tried anything for Jeffree Star, and I really do want to try the eyeshadow formula one day because I hear a lot of people say it's really good, and so there's a big part of me that wants to find a palette that like really speaks to me enough to try it, but so far the purple one this year hasn't really got me. I think the one so far that I wanted to try the most was the Jawbreaker palette, but I just didn't manage to pull the trigger because one, it was really expensive. So okay, let's talk about a product that has really tempted me, and it's the Benefit release their Georgia blush, and I am from Georgia, and I really love the Benefit blushes that I've tried, or the Benefit cheek palettes that I've tried so far, or not palettes. I have the Hoola bronzer, and I have the and I have another blush that I can't remember the name of right now, but I love the quality of those products, and they last me forever. So it's not a question of quality. I already know that. I can probably bet that the quality is really nice, but that Georgia blush is just calling my name. It's got this orange kind of tone to it. It's shimmery, and it's got this Georgia stamp in it that I'm like, oh, that's so cute. I love that. I've never really been suckered in by packaging as much as that blush suckers me in. And then also they released it, so they have it in single form. They have it in like a little trio, and then they have it in a 5-pan like face palette with Cookie, Hoola. There's another blush that they've Sugar Bomb, and then I forget what all's in it, but I'm so tempted. It's a $60 palette, so that's the main reason why I'm like, well, I can wait. But I'm so tempted. I've never been so tempted by a face palette before because one, I know I would like Hoola, and I've been dying to try Cookie, but then I also get multiple blushes, so I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have been tempted by any face palettes like that. Part of me is like, okay, you know that it's mostly packaging, so calm down, and that's mainly why I haven't like pulled the trigger on that one yet, but oh my goodness. Maybe it's because I struggle with being homesick that so much that I'm like, oh yeah, I need that Georgia blush in my life, but I'm managing to resist so far. Okay, let's move into talking about a couple more palettes. So let's talk about the Huda Beauty Pastel mini palettes. I was very intrigued by those. I've not tried any of the Huda Beauty like 9-pan palettes, but I do think those are really, really gorgeous. I'm intrigued by the pink one. I think it has that little yellow shade in it. Purples for some reason don't pull me in, and neither does that like mint one, but the pink one kind of pulls me in. So another one that I like the colors of, but I haven't really fallen in love with, is the ColourPop Sailor Moon palette collection. I think the main reason, like if ColourPop had released this palette and named it something like just generic and boring, I probably would have bought it. But for some reason, I'm like, well, I was never into Sailor Moon, and I feel kind of weird about buying Sailor Moon stuff, even though I've never been into, because I haven't been into Sailor Moon. So I think the colors in that palette are stunning, and I think I'm like, they draw me in quite a bit. I'm very interested in that color scheme altogether, but for whatever reason, because I wasn't into the show, I'm not interested in buying that palette, even though if you renamed it and changed the cover art, it would totally be mine already. So I don't know, does anybody else do that? Are you weird like me? And let's talk about one more ColourPop release this one is the most recent, I think, ColourPop release that is just killing me. So the one I'm talking about is the Mulan release with ColourPop. I freaking love that red palette so much. I actually have never seen a ColourPop release where I wanted the entire, like everything from the entire collection. And this is another one that's kind of weird because I like Mulan, but I wasn't like hardcore Mulan. So for me to like see that palette collection or the whole like PR kit, and I'm like, I want to try everything in that palette kit. I love all 3 shades of the lip products that they did. I love every shade in that palette, even though I think I already have a lot of them. And then I want to try, like, there's like a lip treatment. I don't really care about like the jasmine, I think it was some sort of face serum. I don't really care about that, but everything else in there, the 2 cheek products look stunning to me. I like those colors that look pretty nude on like your skin. So that one is one that I'm like, if that collection is around at my birthday or something, that's probably what I'm gonna ask for like a birthday present from family, because that one is getting me. It looks so pretty, and I'm just a sucker for red eyeshadows in general. I think that's what's really getting me. So maybe I hope to at one point or another own something from that collection, because I just think that it's really, really stunning. I think they did a really good job with that collection. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop there. I know there are so many releases that I did not talk about at all, because we would be here for days if I tried to do all of that. Let me know in the comments if there were any of them that I didn't mention that you still were suckered into or are tempted by, or just have seen and go like absolutely not interested. I thought this could kind of be a little fun makeup chit chat in terms of what's interesting, what's not, what kind of releases, where do you see the trends going this year. But yeah, I hope you guys are staying safe and doing well, and I will see you in the next one.